Hi everyone, I am FMR and welcome to this beginner's guide for Endless Space 2. Endless Space 2 is a 4X strategy game released in May 2017, developed by Amplitude Studios, who are also known for Endless Space 1, Dungeon of the Endless, and Endless Legend. This beginner's guide is a series of short episodes focusing each on one aspect of the gameplay. This first episode will serve as an introduction and will discuss the basics of the game, mainly one of the most important concepts, the FIDSI indicators. Let's begin. Food, industry, science, dust, and influence. This is what FIDSI stands for, and you will see it when you look at your system management screen. These little icons represent each one indicator: the food, the industry, the dust, the science, and the influence. They are divided into, I would say, two categories. The indicators that are local to a system, food and industry, and the ones that are global to your empire, the dust, the science, and the influence. We'll discuss all of them in a bit more detail, but before we begin, I would like to show you one tip that I like to use in my games. If you press space in that star system management screen, you'll get the base production for a given population in any of your planets. That way, it's an easy solution to know where you should put your population and how you would focus your, I would say, economy. If you want more food, you would settle on Thea 3. If you want more industry, you could settle on Thea 1. It's a very good way of quickly looking at all your different planets and your FIDSI production in there. You can also press star space at a higher level to get a wider picture of all your star systems. FIDSI indicators is the base of this game, so it's very important to get it right. Now let's look in details at all of these indicators. Food is the first of the FIDSI indicators, and it's used per system. As you can see here, I've got a production of 53 food in Thea, but my whole system produces 93. This is because I've got the colony base, I've got friendly vines, I've got a happy system, and I've got draw networks, which all add a certain number of food to my overall system production. Some of that food is used for manpower, which is this number here, which is used for invasion. It's very important to keep that in mind. And also consuming food from my current population. The population is indicated in this section of the left hand side of the screen, and it basically indicates that to grow a new population I need 150 food, and because I already have 91 and I'm gonna get 94 next turn, I'm gonna get a new population in one turn. I'm gonna get an unfallen population. Growing population is very important because that's basically allowing you to get more of all the different FIDSI indicators at a time. However, it's not very specialized. For example, if you add more populations, that's now how you're going to get more dust. You're going to get more dust by having more population and buildings focused toward dust. So even though food is very important, and it depends on the faction, it can be the most important FIDSI indicator you focus on, I wouldn't say it's your most important indicator in the early game. Now, if you want, you can move your population in different systems and see how the FIDSI will vary. I can't show you in these examples because I only colonize one system, but it's important to minimize and maximize the input and the production of all your FIDSI depending on your population. That concludes our little chapter about food. Industry is the second FIDSI indicators we're going to discuss, and according to me it's the most important one in your early game. Industry is your base unit to build anything on a system, so it is an indicator per system. 625 production on this system means I can spend 625 industry building one of these things. As you can see, some cost 280 or 1120 in that case. So without industry you cannot build any building, you cannot build any improvement. Which means without industry, you cannot specialize in the production of influence, science, dust, food, or even more industry if you want. Industry is also used to build your fleet. So without any good systems producing industry, you won't be able to defend yourself or even attack. So it's very important to look for hot planets, because hot planets are the one producing the most industry per population. Be careful though, some planets have not a lot of slots for population, so they won't be able to produce a lot of industry. Usually when you start the game, you'll have the option between cerebral reality and draw networks. If you don't have a good industry in your system, I would advise to pick draw networks, because it will give you a flat bonus on industry, which I think is very important. Dust is a global indicator in your empire, and it is located in the top left corner. You can see your total amount of dust and the amount of dust you're gaining per turn. Dust is used for upkeep of buildings, heroes and fleets. It means you'll need at least a little amount of dust if you want to have any army or if you want to build anything. However, you don't need to focus that much if you only want to do that. However, dust can be used for something else, and this is buying out buildings and improvements. For example, far-sighted crops. I can buy this out for 6.9k, which means basically in 5 turns I can buy out this improvement with just the dust that I'm making. It's also very good if you don't have good systems with very good industry. But however, if you want to be able to buy out constructions, you'll need to research a certain technology, which is the accelerated production. Enables the use of dust to immediately complete anything in the construction queue. Keep in mind this is very important if you want, for example, to be able to produce a lot of ships very quickly. The other thing that is very important regarding dust is that you will be able to buy strategics, luxuries, ships and heroes from the marketplace. Again, you'll need another technology to unlock this, the G-Goods exchange and the Tier 3 G-Services exchanges. Once you have these, you'll be able to sell or buy anything from the marketplace, so it's very important to have it. Dust is also used for trading, and to have trading setup you need trading companies, and you need to build these trading companies yourself. You can unlock them over there in the trading company HQ and trading company subsidiary technologies. You can basically have a certain number of ships in your trading company that will send and gain some dust, science and luxuries from different systems all linked in your trade network. You can improve that by buying out some more ships that will let you trade more of these resources basically. But it's not the only use of dust in the game. It's also used if you want to retrofit any of your fleet. For example, if I give this, if I want to upgrade a ship Fast Explorer to my new design, I will have to spend 78 dust to do so. Dust can also be obtained from quests, so it's very important to keep an eye on your quest. The last thing that dust is used for is for upgrades of your troops management. So always keep an eye on that if you want to upgrade your troops, and don't forget that it costs also some strategics. Basically, dust is the currency of the game, and dust also has a very important meaning in the lore. So always keep a good eye on your dust production and make sure to use it at its best. S is for science, and science is what is used to unlock technologies. You find science in cold planets, and all of your science is put together into a pool which is used for this technology screen, which we're going to look at very soon. However, it's important to note that most of your science income will come from cold planets and your population, but also from improvements. So don't forget to research and focus on building these science improvement on cold systems, or systems with cold planets. Your total production of science is located here in the technology screen, and the technologies you're currently researching will be numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, and you will see them here in your research queue. The more technology you research, the more expensive the next technology will be, so always keep that in mind and make sure to prioritize what you want in the correct order. The technology screen is divided in 4 quadrants, and we'll discuss it in a separate episode. However, I just wanted to mention that the more you progress into the different sections of a quarter of the technology circle, the more expensive things will be. For example, if you want to search hexavolt beam focus, this will currently take you 8 turns. However, if I want to research the neural robotics, which is only in the 3rd part of the quarter, it's only going to take me 2 turns. It can be risky to spend all the time researching the best technologies because you're going to take a lot of time, and you will sometimes gain more benefits from researching things in order. That's it for science. Influence is produced per planet, but it's a global indicator. It's located here in your UI. It's important for multiple reasons, but first of all, it's very hard to produce any influence because it doesn't come from the planet, it only comes from your population. In this case, I'm playing the United Empire, so I'm even getting better bonus on influence production. You would usually have to build buildings and improvements to manage to get a very large production of influence. Another advantage of the United Empire is that they can buy out things with influence, like technologies or improvements. So what can you do with that influence? First of all, the more influent you are, the more your borders will grow. As you can see here, my border grows over a system owned by these guys, the Riftborn. It basically means that in my diplomacy screen, I will be very much put some pressure on them. Pressure train plus 6.5, that's what it means. I'll be able to negotiate things with them. I could even write demands if I want to force something on them. But if I want to conclude something normal, like for example requesting an alliance, I would just make an offer, and that would cost me a certain number of influence. And everything I would like to add to the mix will cost me more influence. That is one use of your influence. If you want to declare war, force a truce, propose an alliance, any type of agreement, science or trade, you will need influence for that. The other use of influence, and it's probably very important, especially in the early game, is dealing with minor factions. Minor factions have this diplomatic relation bar at the bottom, and you can spend influence to grow that bar up to 100, which is what I've got right now. If you're friendly with them, which I am with them right now, it will give us manpower per turn, science, and empire dust. These numbers don't look really big at the moment, even though manpower is very interesting. But in the early game, it's very important to have this extra boost in dust, science, and manpower. The other thing you can do with influence is you've got different actions here. You can declare war on them. You can assist them, that will give you a quest which will let you assimilate them. Or you could just spend even more influence to assimilate them directly. To do that, you need to be allied with them or under their influence. For example, if I wanted to, I could ask for assistance with them. They're going to give me a quest, and I will obtain the minor faction if I do so, which means their population will be able to come into my system. Or I can straight assimilate them. If I assimilate them, the quest has failed, but now I'm owning the system directly. Of course, we're going to make an episode on the minor factions directly, so we'll have a lot more to talk about. But that's just to show you what to do with your influence, and I think it's very important to treat with your minor factions. And this concludes our first episode of our Beginner's Guide for Endless Space 2. If you enjoyed the content, don't hesitate to like or share the video, or even subscribe to the channel. I hope to see you very soon. Goodbye.